lot of the guys that tell me, they come in and they're like, I just want to make a lot of money. I just want to make a lot of money. But the biggest thing is, are you willing to put in the work to make that much money?
Yeah.
Because, like, a lot of people come to me and let's say I hire them, right? And they want to make six figures, okay, whatever. But are you guys doing what it takes to get six figures, right? And I tell everybody, you can make 150K coming into this industry easy, but are you willing to get 130? Are you willing to knock or communicate or talk to 150 people? And guess what? Like literally, like 130 of those are gonna say no.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the Quest of the Future Messiahs. You got your main man, Giffy Messiah, in.
We got Kenny J. What's good? What's good?
So we got a special guest with my favorite organization, which is Alpha Energy, with our CEO, Bryan. Introduce yourself, man.
Hi guys. So my name is Bryan Jimenez, and actually own a solar company here in the state of North Carolina. We have teams in Charlotte, Greensboro, and Raleigh right now. Currently looking to expand. We have a virtual team and we have a call center in Mexico. So we got a lot of things going. Super excited to hop in with these guys, getting to know these guys, and just let's get to it.
Awesome.
So what made you think about Alpha Energy?
That is a great question, man. I've always been an individual that, like, my mindset is obviously different than a lot of other people's. I had to mature at a very young age, and that allowed me just to develop, like, just maturity at a very young level in life. And I found myself jumping into sales out of nowhere. I mean, it just kind of happened naturally. I was working for an alarm company alarm systems. So I was actually an installer for a small company in Statesville, North Carolina, if you guys know where that's at. And I was installing systems there, and I noticed that I got very good at communicating with people. I was upselling alarm systems, and I was in that field, and I realized that I was very limited. So I jumped into sales, and that would actually, like, out of nowhere, and I was like, this is like something that not
Can you bring
everybody.
the mic a little bit closer? My bad.
Yeah. No, you good. And this is something that not everybody can do. You really gotta be like alpha mindset type of guy. Can't give up on your goals. Can't give up on your dreams. Like, and that helped me develop the name. So I remember I was actually with one of my cousins. I was actually training him. I brought him into the industry, and out of nowhere, man. Like, if you're a true believer of like speaking things into existence, I was like, man, like, this is such an alpha job. Not everybody can do it. And I told him, I was like, one day I'm gonna start my own company, and I'm gonna call it Alpha Energy, and just that's how the name came to begin. And this was 2 years before I started Alpha, so that's crazy.
I liked how also with like the word alpha, nowadays people focus on that word with a negative connotation. So I liked how you kind of flipped it and made it into your own. And that's something that like a lot of people don't do, to where they don't actually they stick with other people are saying, but not what your version of what that word or really what your idea is. So I think that's really cool that you do that. And so
Did this business make you red pill?
Well, the biggest thing is like we walk into like in like places, people like the logos. We go eat sometimes, and they'll be like, "Yo, what's Alpha?" And I've come to a point where like sometimes we're at events and they're like, "Oh, are you guys like an energy company, like a pre-workout or something like that?" Because all of us are like a little bit fit, right? We all work out, and that's one of our values, right? That somebody that comes into Alpha, it's like a must. You got to work out at least four times a week. And the reason why that is because if you feel good about your body, then you're obviously going to produce good. And sales is all about producing.
And what are the struggles, like when you were developing this company, what were the struggles of that?
Well, just like I would say, like me being always entrepreneur mindset, like I was always looking for opportunities, right? And the reason why I started Alpha, it wasn't for me to become wealthy, because that's part of the game. But at the end of the day, the reason why I started Alpha was because I went through different companies, right? So when I jumped into solar, I started with a company, Ion. Then I moved into Carolina Connections. Then I moved into Integrity. And I found myself running in a company for another guy. And I was running the entire thing. And I was running the teams. I was running the meetings. I was doing the recruiting. I was doing the hiring. So I just learned every single part of the game. And In my opinion, got to a point where like I would go to the CEO and be like, "Hey, man, we need to do this. We should do this. We should do that," and I was not being listened to. And I mean, you do that to an A player like me, it's like, nah, like we gotta get something going because I'm trying to think, like I want to do huge things. I don't want to just do small things. And he was comfortable doing all these little small things, and he's like, as long as we're like growing, we're good. And I'm more like, nah, let's blow it out the freaking water and let's just make it happen type of mindset. So obviously I had to part ways from that, and that's whenever I started Alpha Energy. I did struggle a lot because the CEO was, I mean, I left a lot of money on the table because it's, you got to build a pipeline with solar, right? Just like any type of sales, you build your pipeline, or a lot of people call it book of business or something like that. And you build that pipeline, and it takes, from the moment you sign the contract, it could take 6 weeks to get it installed. Sometimes it takes 2 months. It could take 3 months, right? So you got a lot of deals in your pipeline, and then you just make that decision to leave. You don't know if you're ever gonna see that money. You never know if you're ever gonna see that money. People might say like, yeah, you're gonna see it, but you just never know. I to this day have not seen that money. So that's cool though. That's cool. That's cool. We live and learn. But what helped me a lot starting the business Alpha together was that fact that I got very, very good at sales. So when my decision came, I was like, you know what? If I start all over, I'm very good at this. So I'm gonna make money very quickly, and I'm gonna fund my entire company through it. So it was just boom, boom, investing, sell, investing, sell, investing, sell, investing, and and the struggles that happened was that I was wearing multiple hats at the beginning, and just like any CEO, you know, like entrepreneur, you start a company and you don't realize how much it takes because you got to do HR, you got to do accounting, you got to do payroll, you got to do training, you got to do recruiting, you got to do all of these things, and you become very overwhelmed. And it's very hard to find. I mean, I had a team already to follow me through and started Alpha, but it wasn't a team full of what I like to call A players, right? A players are the people that are are just very dependable. They're always gonna say that they always do what they tell you they're gonna do. They always follow through on their word. You don't have to literally micromanage them and they weren't all like that. So I struggled with a lot of that. A lot of people came through and they kind of starting all over in their pipeline. They weren't motivated no more. So I had to be my own motivation, and I had to find ways to motivate these guys, and I had to find ways to continue going, and then slowly finding these key players and delegating that to that. And what's funny here is that actually my brother Alan, he was already helping Integrity, right? So he stayed there for a couple months after I started Alpha. So he didn't even come with me. So maybe 2-3 months later, he joined the team, and that's what really helped me develop and take off, because I needed a guy that just came in and took care of like all admin works. He knew how to build systems already. And that's the part where I was struggling the most, because I was very good at selling and training and recruiting, but I wasn't very good at like just focusing on a computer and being there for 8 hours. I like to go out and just produce. So yeah, that's one of the biggest struggles.
I feel that.
And I think, like, you know, when you're trying to have a big vision, and like when you said like you had people, but they weren't the people for you and for what you were trying to build. And I, you know, at first when I started my podcast, I had the vision, but the people to help you was not even, they weren't even on your level. And so when I moved here, you know, when I went to UNCG, I was trying to develop my podcast, and I had people, they were interested in it, but they didn't have no skills to really help the team grow. And so as a result, they wasn't motivated. They were only coming there just to be there. And so I really had to change my strategy, and just, you know, that's how I met KJ, and that's how I met Xavier. You know, Xavier's not here. He had to do something. But my whole point is that, like, we all, in a way, he helps me a lot. Like, I had a vision. You know, it's good to have people with ideas, but with someone, you know, he puts my ideas alive.
Yeah.
And he's like, the videos and stuff, that's all him right there. He spends
That's
night
awesome.
and days to really do what he's supposed to do. And look, editing is really tedious to me. But connecting with people, that's how I met you. That's how I met a lot of people. It's just that when you have roles, you need to have roles in the team to really complete your vision. And that's something that I feel like me and you could relate to.
Yeah, man, it's very hard because you got to go through a bunch of like filtering a lot of people till you find like key players in your business that are gonna help you elevate. And I look at it like a freaking sport, right? I like to play soccer, and I'm like, tell my guys all the time, look, if your position is being in defense, you got to stay in defense and you got to play your game, right?
Definitely.
If it's middle school, middle school, midfielder, you got to play midfield, right? If it's striker, you got to play striker and you got to stay there. If you're striker and you're hanging over here with the defense, we're not doing our part, and that's the way I tell my executive team. That's the way I talk to them. That's how I talk to my leaders.
And, and pretty much like you've been through this like on your own, and you had to really acquire a lot of people. And when people come up to you and they may have asked you, what is your role models? Like, who are the people that motivated you to become the person you are right now?
That's a great question, man. Absolutely love that question, because it's the same thing with role models, right? You got to filter them out, because whenever your vision, I always look at it this way, because a lot of people listen to like their parents, and their parents are their role models. But then you got to ask yourself the question, like, are my parents or my uncle or the people around me, are they like doing the things that I want to do? Right? And that's whenever you start finding role models outside of that, right? Biggest role models for me, I would say, it's a guy named Zane Jen. So he's one of my biggest role models, my mentor. And the reason why I say this is because he's literally a year older than me, but he's running a multi-million-dollar business, solar business, and it's just very amazing, his way of thinking. It's like huge, and he has helped me develop a huge way of thinking, right? So I don't think small no more. I used to think small, and I woke the fuck up, and I was like, nah, I gotta play this to go huge, right? To go big. So he's one of the biggest. Then Cardone, and then Ryan. I don't know if you know Ryan, the real estate guy.
He sounds familiar.
Ryan Garcia. And yeah, them three honestly are probably my top three that I'll go and listen to, and just reading a lot of books, to be honest.
And what I really do appreciate about sales is their high tolerance of ambiguity, and which means is that of the unknown, because you're not gonna know if you're gonna get that sale or not.
Yeah.
You don't know. So it's like, for me, it's like, I don't want to convince somebody that this product is good.
Yeah.
Because you don't know. So I think with just a lot of rejection, you're going to get 5 rejections more than 1 acceptance.
Yeah.
So when you've maybe try to sell, your product to the client and they rejected you, how did you feel?
That's a great question. It's a lot like recruiting, right? So a lot of the guys tell me, they come in and they're like, I just want to make a lot of money. I just want to make a lot of money. But the biggest thing is, are you willing to put in the work to make that much money?
Yeah.
Because like a lot of people come to me and let's say I hire them, right? And they want to make 6 figures. Okay, whatever. But are you guys doing what it takes to get 6 figures, right? And I tell everybody, you can make 150K coming into this industry easy, but are you willing to get 130? Are you willing to knock or communicate or talk to 150 people? And guess what? Like literally, like 130 of those are gonna say no, right? 130 of those are gonna say no. That's when it starts getting, that's when it starts getting complicated, and a lot of people start having that fight in their freaking head about, is this really for me? Is it not? And it falls down to one thing, and I would say that one thing is, how much do you believe in the product?
Yes.
Yeah.
How much do you believe in the product? Because the first sale that you have to make is that of yourself. So you gotta sell yourself on the product, and that's whenever you just pick up so much conviction that like you become unstoppable with it. And like you said, it's one of those things where like I can wake up tomorrow and not know if I'm gonna make a sale, or I don't know how long it's gonna take me to make that next sale.
Yeah.
And that's whenever it falls to mindset, and you're like, you just develop the skill where like you already know how many sales you're going for a month, for a week, where do you need to get.
You kind of make a manifestation.
Yes, it's all energy, and sales is a transfer of energy, a transfer of emotions, and it's just crazy. You really don't know. You really don't know till you play the game, and then you just really fall through it, and you just boom, 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 sell here, and you're right, man. Like, you just never know if you're gonna make that net sale, right? And that's what's fun about it, That's what makes it really fun, because you wake up with a new adventure every day, new adventure, and that's the way you look at it. I mean, you can live life in different perspectives, and I mean, I just love the idea of like me deciding by myself, by my actions, how much money I can generate for myself.
That's really good, man.
So is your your business for like the people that are working with you, is it 100% commission or just like base salary with like bonus on top of that?
That is a great question, right? So, training, right? Coming in, somebody that has no sales experience whatsoever, I'll give them the option. I'll be like, look, we can put you an hourly 15 hours. I mean, $15 an hour, and you gotta work a minimum a week of like 15 to 20 hours. We usually do 15 when it starts getting cold because the sun starts going in earlier. We do 20. 20 during the summer, a minimum of 20 when it starts getting warm, spring. Um, and and then they get a bonus on top of that, usually depending on how many sales they make on in a month basis. But I got different positions, right? So my people in Mexico, they usually have salary, low commission, and then if they want to transfer and come in just fully commission, then that's when they make the most money.
Yeah.
That's when they make the most money because the company's not taking that much risk. So whereas to like my business is taking the risk of paying somebody coming in working hourly at 15 an hour, and I don't know if they're gonna make a sale that week, right? But I'm giving them that money. Why? Because I want them to get trained up, get better, get over the learning curve because there's always a learning curve, and then just make it happen, right?
Do you think that like salary plus commission, it gives more people a motivation to still stay in the business? Because I've seen like people who's been on both sides of the sector, whether they're 1099s or W-2s, but I think I've seen more benefits from like the salary plus because they know at the end of the day, if we work in like 50, 60 hours, there's at least going to be that little something that's going to be at the end of the week or the month. Whereas with 100%, you got to go all in or you're not going to make anything, you know?
That's the biggest thing. And you can look at it both ways. A lot of big companies, a lot of huge companies, they do it usually salary, very low commission.
Yeah.
The reason why that is because there's bigger margins in that. And that's what works for them because that's what honestly a lot of college students like. That's what a lot of college students like. They like to come out of college and have a promised salary and make a little bit of commission. They're fine with it as long as they're moving in through the ranks. I always say, me personally, like, fuck that. Why? Because I like to go all in things, right? Yeah. And it all falls back into how confident you are on yourself. It all falls back to that. Because if you're confident in yourself, if you're confident in your abilities, your skills, the way you communicate, your body language, absolutely everything, there's no reason why you wouldn't make a sale at the end of the week if you put in the work.
Definitely.
So pretty much I got, 2 more questions. So has there been like people that may have joined your company, hired at your company, and you didn't see really any potential or they wasn't improving the way that you wanted them to improve?
Well, I feel like that you're asking some great questions, man. I'll take that.
Yeah.
I love those questions,
yeah.
man. You put this together in a really good way. And that's one of the biggest problems that I have, honestly, that sometimes I see the potential, but they don't see it for themselves. Right? So I'll bring in people in, and there's a lot of people that we won't hire, right? But there's a lot of people that we will because we see something in them, and we bring them in, and we see the potential, and we want to train them, and we want them to develop themselves into becoming better leaders, better people, high-producing people, but sometimes they don't want it for themselves. Sometimes they give up on themselves too easy. Sometimes they don't have that confident in themselves, or sometimes they start listening to their environment too much, right? That's the biggest thing. People listen to their environment, and they just there's so much negativity out there.
Yeah.
And you got to feed yourself with positivity, affirmations, motivation. You got to feed yourself with all of these things to make huge things out of your life. And that's where a lot of people make the mistake. They just listen to everything else that's going on around them, and they start getting discouraged slowly. And next thing you know, you can't bring them back up. And sometimes me as a CEO, it's kind of hard to focus my energy on every single individual. So I can't go and bring somebody up 3, 4, 5 times. Like eventually after the second time, like, all right, man, like it's up to you. You just let them out there. You just stop talking to them. If you guys are gonna do it, you guys are gonna do it. If you guys are not, then you guys are not. And it's sales. I mean, you do sales. It's a tough game. Not everybody can do it. It's not for everybody, and that's okay. And it's a process when it comes to bringing people in. It's like a process. Like, how long are you gonna do this for? If you're gonna last here, if you're not, and it's a huge turn down ratio because not everybody can make it happen.
Do you think that anybody could reach that level of success, or do you think that like there's people who could who are willing to go to that extra mile, like the one percenters. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you have those people who make six figures. That's only like 1% of the U.S. population.
Yeah.
So do you think that like certain people can only go to that point, and then there's like other people in life where they just want to go in, get the money that they need to provide for their family, and then just call it a day?
I feel like everybody can develop that, but we have grown up in a society where everything's easy for us. Everything's easy for us, and everything has been so easy since we were kids that we don't have that fire in us that we want to make things happen anymore, right? So a lot of people are fine with just having a one house with two nice cars and a nice family. A lot of people are okay with that. I'm not okay with that personally because I'm only living once, and I know that. So I'm gonna make sure that my life is it's extraordinary, right? I want to live an extraordinary life. I don't want to live an average life. But I believe that everybody can develop those skills if they really focus on themselves, grow themselves. I believe that anybody can.
Sorry, my bad.
You
No,
good?
you got it?
Okay.
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
I was gonna go into this like little theory. Are you familiar with the fourth generation millionaire?
No.
Okay, so to put it like, I'm gonna give you like the cliff notes.
Yeah.
So let's say you have your great grandfather, your grandfather, your dad, and then yourself. So your great grandfather ended up inheriting, building a business from scratch. Then he passed it down to his son. The son didn't really know too much about like what it takes to be successful or grind because he kind of got it from his dad. You know, he already had everything given to him. So then you have your dad, basically, where it's to the point he doesn't really know much of anything either because your granddad had to
Did everything for him.
yeah, pretty much. So by the time you get to you either have a fight or flight moment. You either inherit the money that you have left over or take that money and invest it into something more, into the business or something else.
I've actually heard of that before, but what was the question there?
No, I was just asking if you knew anything about it.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, personally, like my family tree, like I don't think ever anybody has ever been as successful as I will be. And I mean, I'll definitely be the first millionaire in my family, right? But the biggest thing is that like that I'm very familiar with that, and I know that's gonna that happens with every family that has money.
Yeah.
Because there's no way to pick up hunger for a kid that just has had everything. And I feel like that comes back to the parents. If you're a dad and you have so much money, you're wealthy, and you got real estate, and you got a lot of property, and you're just giving everything to your kids, and you're not teaching them lessons. And what helps in life, it's the experiences that you make. Yeah. So a way to avoid that, I would say that I'm definitely gonna create like a program for my family specifically. I'm like, you can't do this to your kids. You can't do this to your kids. But I mean, it's gonna happen. I feel like, and I believe in that.
I know we still got a maid, but you still doing these dishes.
Exactly. That's the way it's gotta be, you know.
So, and I think like when you said, everybody is capable of doing, what you're doing, don't you feel like that's kind of a con? Because if everybody had that personality, I think like our whole system of doing things would just be disrupted. Because if you have someone that's a leader and you got someone else, if you have someone else as a leader or wants to be the leader, it's going to be a clash. Because, I was watching this interview, his Math Hoffa, he's a battle rapper. And this guy, his name is Caesar. Have you heard of Black Ink? No?
No.
So he runs a lot of tattoo shops. And pretty much is like the people that backstabbed him were people that were trying to get above him. So do you think that maybe people are comfortable? It's better for some people to be comfortable?
Well, I did say that everybody can develop the skills, but that doesn't mean everybody will.
Yeah.
Not everybody's going to do it, right? So I believe that everybody can. Like, if I get a guy right here, I believe that he can develop it if he really wanted to, but he's not going to want to. He does not have the hunger of it. And the reason why I know that is the most successful people that you will meet, a lot of them, the higher percentages, they have literally been self-made. And the reason why that is because they picked up hunger when they were young, right? They pick up hunger. They pick up a fire that literally drives them to wanting to become more, be more, and achieve more. and therefore they do it. But a lot of people have not picked up that, and I believe that it has made it for people like us to be successful a lot more easier, right? So I mean, I don't live in a scarcity mindset. If anybody comes to me, I'm gonna teach them how to play the game. I'm not gonna hide anything from them. I'm gonna show them exactly, because I love competition personally. At the end of the day, I'm my own competition, but I just love it when people there's an abundance of opportunities. There's an abundance of opportunities out there, and I just love to help people elevate and get them to the next level. But it's not gonna happen. Not everybody's made for it. Not everybody has that hunger. Not everybody wants it bad enough. They think they do. A lot of people think they do and they talk, but that does not mean they want it. They're not willing to put in the work. They much rather go home, watch Netflix after their 9 to 5 than freaking grind on their like second business or something like that.
So, to just put in what you were saying a little bit earlier. So, if everybody could reach the level of success, do you think that success has like that certain type of monotone to it? So what I mean is, like, if everybody is successful, would the meaning of success have any like significance behind it if everybody's at that level? Like, if nobody's special and everybody's like still at that same point, is there a point of where success is even just like a thing anymore?
That's funny, right? Because I don't think that's ever gonna happen. But a lot of people feel like success, you can interpret that in any way and form, and a lot of people believe that. I personally do not believe that. I feel like success to me is somebody that is fulfilling every spot of their life, right? Whether that's spiritually, that's financially, that's healthy, that's all these other things. All these little categories. I feel like that's successful to me. A lot of people are going to be like, if you're happy, you're successful. Right? I mean, yeah, it's good to be happy, but at the end of the day, it's like, what other bigger purpose do you have other than you being happy? Like, because to me, it's creating opportunities for other people to fulfill their needs, their wants, and that's what I believe is success.
But in the same token, you can also say that, like, people in third world countries, like, some of my family back in Jamaica or even in Cuba, like, they happy. They don't have like all the riches and everything, but they still got the family dynamic. They still have like everything that brings together, like from their farms, and they come back and provide for their family. That's the biggest success that they can give them.
That is true, because I actually lived in Mexico City, and I learned that, right? I live in a freaking third world country, and that's what helped me a lot. And I learned that. I learned all those things. But at the end of the day, they have not been exposed to bigger things. They have not been exposed to bigger. They don't even have no idea what's possible.
Yeah.
And that's happiness to them, and that's success to them, right? Here in America, we live differently, like way differently than any other country. Like, the amount of opportunity here is absolutely crazy, and it's just sad that not everybody's willing to work towards it.
But I feel like also a lot of people that are successful will end up unhappy because you've been chasing it for so long, and then you look and it's just, some people may have not had the best parents, or some people may not have. So people's version of success can be completely different, But I think one of the biggest things was this millionaire. He was getting his house built, and he's sad that the house is going to be built, late. But all these immigrants that were there building a house, they were happy.
Yeah.
They were happy. They were just playing music. That's what he said. But it was really more of like, why am I mad about my house being built if these people are happy that they got a job? They got a sustainable job.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's so crazy how everybody has a different perspective on what happiness, what success is to them.
Yep. And success is not just about money. Like I said, it's fulfilling every single spot, right?
Yeah.
Because, like, if you can have millionaires that are sad. You can have millionaires that are sad, and that shows you that money is everything, because they might cut out relationships that are not worth it, that they are worth it, excuse me, and they might not be healthy. They might lose the little aspect. So I feel like it just depends on fulfilling every spot or every category that you want to fulfill. Like, if I want to be in love, right? So and I'm not in love, and I got multiple millions, let's say, well, I'm not happy anymore, right? So that I'm not successful. I don't see that part of my life as success, and that's okay, right? But I mean, I feel like success is when you fill these categories, right? When you fill these categories, and when you're happy, you have a family, you're in love, and all these other things. But I mean, financially is not everything. I
Yeah.
wouldn't say.
So you're saying there's multiple successes,
Yeah.
not just one.
Mm-hmm.
I got you. Okay. And I got one more question. So you're a salesperson. What are some tips you can give to the viewers, to the people that are listening? What are some tips that you could provide that can be good for sales?
Okay, that's a great question. First and foremost, I would always say that everything is a sell. Everything. Everything is a sell. And the way I look at it, let's say you go on a date, is yourself selling yourself to that person, right? You go to school, you go to the teacher, professor, whoever it is. They're selling you on the topic, on the subject. You listen to your coach, he's selling you on how to play. It's everything's a sell. You go to the store, it's just a sell. Like everything in life is a sell. You're doing an interview, you're selling yourself on why you're a great fit for the job.
Yeah.
So once you learn that, you're good at anything. Like I believe that salespeople that get really good at sales, like they can do anything in the world. And the reason why that is because that's the biggest skill. I don't know if you guys know, but the biggest CEOs in these huge companies, they come from the sales department. And what do you guys think that is?
I mean, I don't believe sales. I disagree with you on that one. But, but shout out to the salespeople. But are you asking me why the salespeople
I can give you the answer, but like I just wanted to see where you guys were at with it,
No,
right?
So can you like repeat the question?
Yeah, so yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, the CEOs of these big companies, right? They usually come from the sales department.
Okay.
Yeah, most of them. I think it's like 85% of the CEOs come from like sales.
And they become CEOs of the company?
No, like, yeah, like they eventually develop CEO titles.
Okay.
Because I mean, not just an owner is a CEO. Like sometimes you gotta get somebody else to bring in the table.
No, I get it.
Yeah.
I don't really know. Because, like, for me, I wouldn't think sales would be, or people coming from sales would be put in those positions because I feel like that's just one aspect of business.
It is.
So I do feel as if, maybe because they know how to talk well, that could be one of it. But I think that's more of like HR maybe.
Well, you definitely the reason why that is right is because through sales you have to learn every skill, every little skill. You got to be customer service, you got to learn how to communicate to your client, you got to learn body language, you got to learn all these other things. And you're right, you get so good at communicating that you can talk yourself into these positions, but you just develop this grind through sales too, because I mean you go through so much rejection. And a lot of business owners, when they first tell you, I mean, KFC went through so many rejections to open up a business, right?
Yeah.
Anybody, I can't think of a lot of people right now, but a lot of people do those things, and that's why sales it's a huge thing in the economy. We literally are the blood of economy.
True.
We make things move. We make sales happen. We make all these other things move, and that's why money is moving, right? That's not one of the only things, but that's a huge thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's why that is, right? So whenever you go into sales, you have to adapt quickly to whatever situation. And that's a huge skill that you learn as a CEO. So that helps you make better decisions in your future.
Yeah.
And through sales, it's the only way to become really, really good at sales is by becoming a really, really like knowledgeable person. And the way that you do that is through multiple growing. So I never stop growing. I'm growing all the freaking time, and I'm gonna continue to grow. And like, there's no limit to the growth that we can do. But if somebody comes in and like they want to be really good at sales, they have to put in the work.
And to top it off, like sales really just teach you a lot of life traits and lessons. Like when it comes to maybe talking to girls or like just having that confidence build up for you. But I remember I was in sales and I was kind of like just really to myself and not really like saying much. But like sales really taught me more of like confidence and like just that form of success where I can make my own destiny and decide what I want to do. And I just also think that sales can just teach you a lot about just grooming how to run your own business too. Because they even like take some of the vocabulary that you have with like working.
Yeah.
So let's say, for example, I'm not working for the company, I'm working with the company.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is the. I'm glad you bring that up, right? Because that's one of the biggest things is that you're right. Like you develop all these other skills that you really do not know till you actually do sales for a while. Like you really do not know, and it's hard to explain because it's energy, right? But you asked me a great question. What would you recommend to people? Um, just like life, don't ever give up. Because the only way to lose in sales is if you give up.
That's true.
Yeah.
You can't give. If you don't give up, you're not losing.
Because I feel like also, even if you get rejected, they're going to put somebody else on. That's the crazy part. Like, finding future prospects.
Yeah.
Like, they may not want it now, but they can get it later. And that
Mhm.
depends on how desperate they are or if a friend needs something. So I do really feel like, and one of the biggest things I love is building customer trust relationships.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I love that aspect of, okay, I get to know them. And now you guys are friends. Y'all talking like y'all know each other for years.
Yeah.
So it's just, I do feel like that's a really great thing about sales. Is just, meeting people and being genuine.
Well, here's another skill that you learn, right? So, in sales, you also know how to make new interactions right away. Right?
Yeah.
So you're making new interactions every single day. Now, you tell me another job where you're making, let's say, at least 20 new interactions and 20 new relationships every day. It's kind of hard, right? It's kind of hard, but like in sales, you're having to make new relationships, so you learn how to adapt quickly. I mean, can you imagine? Sometimes I'll go in the house by knocking on the door. I'll go in the house. They have just met me, and I have to quickly develop this relationship within an hour for me to be able to close a $40,000, $60,000 deal.
That's
Yeah, by knocking on the door. I mean, I'm talking about boom, boom, boom. Hey, I'll be back in about 30 to an hour right now. I'll go ahead and explain to you how everything works, and then you guys make an educated decision. Solar is such a no-brainer that I mean, we're talking about like they just met me today, but just because I have developed all these skills, I walk in the house, I sit in the chair, I start opening up my laptop. I get comfortable. I ask for a water, and I'm like, okay, let's go ahead and get started.
that sound like boss stuff right there.
Exactly. That's what we do, right? That's exactly what we do. We get started. I stand up. I have them sit down, and I'm like, okay, boom, boom, boom. This is how it works. Does it make sense? Great, great. All right, let's get this process started today. Boom, and then I walk out. But I build such a great relationship with her, just comfortable making that decision.
Yeah, that's tough for an hour.
Hey,
Oh
Fisher, this
man!
water.
And then they say no after. Oh man, that would hurt me a lot.
Well, that doesn't happen to me, so.
No, you're right. You're right. I can't get mad.
They don't say no to me.
No, go ahead.
So I'm seeing on the website right now. I'm just like kind of curious about this. So it's kind of talking about how you can like save money for like 30 to 60%. And I just wanted to see like the 3 questionnaires on top of that with like the down payments and all that stuff. Like what's the like the gain or like the benefit from it?
Okay, so let me explain solar. First and foremost, it does not require any cost up front whatsoever. Nothing in the world is free. You guys agree?
Yeah.
Nothing in the world is free, right? So what happens is instead of the homeowner paying Duke Energy every single month, a price that if you think about it, you don't know what it's going to be next month. They have no idea, literally no idea. And you're telling them, look, I can put this bill that you have no idea what it's going to be. It's uncontrollable, and it's only going to going up through inflation and everything that's happening. I mean, coal is getting taxed, gas is getting taxed, everything's getting taxed to this inflation, whatever you want to call it, deal that the government just did, right? Inflation Reduction Act, right? So you come in and you show them exactly how they put their bill at a fixed flat rate. No cost up front whatsoever. They're not leaving any down payment, nothing like that. You just show them how to do that. Now you ask them the question. So look, you don't know why in the world did you choose Duke Energy first and foremost? They have no option, right? Second, okay, so next month, do you know what your bill's gonna be? No. Okay, so how would it help you and your family know what your bill's gonna be next month? Especially through these struggles. That would be amazing. I can actually budget for it, right? Because we got bills that are 180, 200, 150. It might drop to $100. Yeah, that's cool. But at the end of the day, you really do not know. Now, let me ask you this question. Do you know what it's going to be 5 years from now? Have no idea. Well, let me tell you this. If we do this today, I got you at 120. Doesn't matter if it's January, March, April, December. At least you know what you're going to be paying 5 years from now. With Duke Energy, you have no idea.
I like how you kind of like use your business tactic by comparing the statistics of the competition, which is Duke Energy. So I think that's a really good strategy for people to really go with because you're comparing statistics.
Well, the biggest thing is it's like, it's a comparison. Yeah, like I'm doing all that, but at the end of the day, with solar, they're not gonna be in any worse position than what they are with Duke Energy already, because they didn't even have the option.
Mm.
They didn't even have the option to do it. They were just told. They were like, this is your utility provider. That's it. You just pay them every single month. What they don't know, what homeowners don't know, is that this price is increasing every single year. Every single year, this price is increasing. Inflation is increasing. So 2 years from now, we're talking a bill that's $150 today. 2 years from now, that same exact bill, it's gonna be around 220. 2 years from now.
Mm.
So you just make them realize. You show them the facts. You show them the facts. You show them this website where how much is gonna increase. You show them all of this, and it's honestly a no-brainer. But unfortunately, not everybody qualifies for the program, right? So that's the biggest thing. It's like you gotta go through this, and we gotta spend a lot of time on their projects, and all of this happens. But at the end of the day, we take care of business, and yeah, we do it through comparison, and we show what Duke Energy is doing. We show what we're doing and what they can do with solar and how their future can look with solar, and they just make the decision to own their electricity instead of renting it.
Okay, got you. You got any last questions?
You got any questions for us?
Yeah.
Honestly, you guys hit me strong with all these questions, right? You guys got me super excited. I love talking about solar, but the biggest thing would be, let's say, where do you guys see yourselves like 5 years from now?
So I see myself being in HR, dealing with
Yeah.
a lot of employees, because I'm the type of person to where I love the aspect of having a team.
Yeah.
And the most important thing is not money capital, is human capital.
Mhm.
So that means is that if you don't got no happy employees, then you don't have a happy business. They're not being productive. And then they're gonna bring that same energy to the consumers and the customers that they're talking to. Now they got no revenue coming in. So I liked how the fact of just being able to, to kind of bring the morale up to the people that is working with you. And we, and again, like we could put that, like you said sales, you could apply that to almost everything. You could apply that to almost everything as well.
That is true.
Families, friends, even, what you're doing at work now. And so it's just being able and not only being put into those positions, but having a personality for it as well. Like I said, some people are not like you, they can do it, but
Yeah.
they got to have the personality to do it. So all throughout my life, I've always had to kind of manage people's emotions and put
Yeah.
people in check all the time. And so I'm like, whoa. People coming up to me and I'm always problem solving. And what could I do that better at? Being HR.
I love that. Actually, that's a great industry to go into.
Yeah.
Honestly, and there's a lot of potential in that, and I absolutely love that for you, because you look like you give the very caring vibes, and and like your energy is really good, which that's the biggest thing, right? And just being able to control that part of the business is a really good thing, because through HR, honestly, like that's how you like either it can be a bad company or a great company. Because HR is the one that sets the culture,
Yep.
right? It's like, you guys are doing this wrong, like you guys got to come in and fix that, right? Or these problems are happening, and you guys are like this is the business, and you guys are like right here because you guys are overseeing everything that's going on, and you can call out what's wrong with it. It's a really good thing. Like, I'm super happy. So you see yourself in HR 5 years from now.
You looking for
That's
HR? Looking for HR?
Maybe.
Nah, for me, like I really like the marketing aspect, because there's
Yeah.
so many different types of departments in there. You got promotion, you got analytical, advertisement. It's just like a lot of things that I find pretty interesting in it. And one thing that I really like about either just like YouTube or other things that you have, like hobbies, they can really turn into something that's very, what's the word? I'm gonna just say you be able to monetize off of it, like from your hobbies. And then, cause like you see people on YouTube where they're not even just like YouTubers, they have people that's coming from their career jobs, and then they're switching over to like doing their own thing where they just learn the things that they did from their career, like finances or like just other things like HR too. And they're just providing value to many people who are like in the same position but want to get to that next level. So, and the same thing with me, I'm also doing insurance as well. So I want to see where I can go with that too, because it's easy. I mean, it's easy to obtain it, but once you're in it, you really gotta like go all in order to reach that next level. So.
Yeah, and I'm a big fan of just having plan A. That's it. I don't make a plan B, C, D, E. I don't make any plan. I just have a plan A. I go all in it, and I make it happen. So you gotta be confident in yourself, right? So
Definitely.
that's why I asked you guys that question. That way you guys know exactly where you guys see 5 years from now, because time flies by like this, and you guys everybody's gotta start acting, right? And everybody's gotta start doing, and there has to be more doing than saying. But time flies by, and we gotta chase our goals, chase our dreams, know exactly where we want to be. Because if we don't know exactly where we're gonna be, it's gonna be very hard to be there.
Yeah,
it's gonna be very hard to be there. But yeah,
Well,
anything else?
yeah. Well, where can they find you?
yeah.
Know?
Oh yeah, awesome. So you guys have a lot of followers, right?
Something like that.
Something like that. Something like that. Be famous.
Was
Be famous.
this a good topic that we went through? You guys,
Absolutely.
How do you guys feel? Okay,
Yeah.
awesome. So I have an Instagram, Bryan Jimenez 9_, and then right there I have a link straight to Alpha Energy's webs. Our page on Instagram. That's only like the salespeople page, usually where we post everything. That's not usually our customers page, but that's where we post everything, like our meetings and stuff, and what's going on within our sales stuff. And then alphaenergy.io is the website. Now, if anybody needs anything at all, or any type of questions at all about how solar works or anything like that, I mean, you guys can send me a DM, ask me any questions. I'm very open to that. I love communicating. I love talking to people. And the biggest thing is I love giving. I love giving value. I love giving information. I have a lot of people that come and ask me, kind of like you, for advice, right? They come and ask me for advice. And just by having a simple conversation, I mean, you can really impact somebody's life, and you can really switch your perspective. And that's one of the biggest things that I personally aspire to be, is just be able to, through a conversation, impact somebody's life to make better decisions. Or not only make better decisions, but maybe switch their focus and actually start taking their life serious, and they chase the level of success that they see success at, right? Or wherever type of career they want to go into. And that's what I admire to be. So if anybody wants to reach out to me, you feel welcome to do it. I'll welcome you guys. I know I'm very busy, but it's okay. I'll reach out to you guys. That's cool. But yeah.
Awesome.
Okay, guys, thank you so much for listening to QFM Request of the Future Messiahs. Please follow us on Instagram. Also, please subscribe to us on YouTube. Thank you so much, guys.
We out, shit.